Hello ladies and gentlemen, once again welcome to Rangers Talk on the Spot. Before we get started today, just don't forget to follow us on Facebook. It's Rangers Talk on the Spot, and Twitter, it's @JersChat. Now today we have a very, very special edition. You could almost say it's a blast from the past. It is Rangers versus Real Madrid. Now this was a huge game. It was the first leg, of the Champions League, but back then called the European Cup. It was on Wednesday, September the 25th, 1963. It was, the attendance was a remarkable 81,000 people. And I mean, the reason why we're covering this game today is because a lot of younger Bears, they don't know our history and don't really know what Rangers have been through and the standard we used to be at. So I'm just going to, without further ado, I'm just going to introduce David and Dean, who are going to be commenting on the match. And if you could tell me the lineup, David, that would be absolutely...
Yeah, it was an astonishing lineup for back then.
Yep.
Many great players.
Who was the keeper?
So we went for... The 11 was Billy Ritchie, John Gregg, Ronnie McKinnon, David Provan, Bobby Shearer, Jim Baxter, Davy Wilson, Ralph Brand, Jim Forrest, Billy Henderson, George McLean and Scott Simon.
Wow, and then Dean, can you give me the Real Madrid lineup? What was that looking like?
Yes, Real Madrid lineup for that day was Jose. Sorry if I get some of these names pronounced them wrong.
It's alright.
Jose Araquistain, never heard of this. That was our goalkeeper. Pedro Casado, Isidro Sanchez, Jose Santamaria, Felix Ruiz, Ignacio Zoco, Lucien Muller, Amancio Alfredo Di Stefano, a lot of people will know him, Paco Gento and Ferenc Puskas, who was the player that scored the goal.
5 minutes before time.
Yeah.
Just what we add, 5 minutes before time, that shows you how intense that game was. I mean, for about 85 minutes, that was an absolute end-to-end match. Mainly Rangers with a lot of chances, but I mean, it set off a great pace, and the supporters, let's not forget, the supporters were absolutely amazing that day. Wilson hit the side net multiple times in that game, which was fantastic. But let's not forget, the manager of that Rangers squad was Scott Simon. And Dean's going to let us know a bit more about his achievements in the time that he was Rangers manager, and give us a bit more insight. Go on, Dean. What did he do for the club?
First, just got a bit to say about the starting 11. As you know, John Gregg, massive legend. Everyone knows his name, and a lot of the other players are also legends and Hall of Fame members. That's what I say about Scott Simon, who had a trophy-laden career with Rangers. In his time, he won 6 league titles, 5 Scottish Cups and 4 League Cups.
Wow.
Which is terrific. 6 of the
amazing achievement.
54, hopefully soon to be 55 league titles.
Hopefully, one of the most successful clubs we have to remember in Europe.
Yeah, can I just say, we've actually got the official programme up on the screen right now. If you take a wee look, it's a magnificent programme.
Oh, wow.
The artwork for the 60s.
It is a very, very...
Yeah. We've got a wee quote from the programme. It reads, "The recent unfurling of the League Championship flag, the winning of which earned us entry to the European Cup tournament for champions and enabled us to meet Real Madrid. The unfurling ceremony, incidentally, was performed by Mrs. James Simpson, wife of our secretary, and who was accompanied to the unfurling section by Vice Chairman John Wilson, Director Matthew Taylor, and her husband." In this programme, I mean, look at the crowds.
It's absolutely jam-packed.
For Ibrox in the 60s.
Wow. That is something to me.
This is where fans, could say wore their Sunday best to the games.
And you look at the price for back then. Look at this. It's about 1D. What is that? And
we don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean,
can I just ask if anyone knows any Bears who attended this game? Family members, can you comment and give us some information, because we've tried our hardest to dig out the best we can. So if you could please comment and
let us know. I mean, honestly, any more information, because as we know, we are young Rangers fans ourselves, but we would love to know a bit more about the game and about what happened and about our history. But I mean, have you got anything else, Dean, to comment on the match or about what happened or anything else?
Well, some of the information we've got is
Very scarce, isn't it? It's not a lot of information.
Saying
Well,
we weren't exactly great. A lot of Rangers' chances ultimately failed, or Madrid managed to intercept.
but we could have been 5-0 up in the
Yeah.
first 5 minutes.
And we're told
John Gregg and
Davy Wilson.
had the side nets very early on.
Yes, and it shows that even after he scored the goals, a great response from Ralph Brand and Davy Wilson just after that. But one thing that here catches my eye, saying we're too often caught. Even 50, 60 years later, we can still.
And we've watched the highlight videos from the match. It's very grainy and grey.
Not the best quality.
Yeah,
The highlights.
but from what we've seen, Rangers were full out attack. They could have won the game.
They could have won the game very easily. But I want to just comment on the crowd, the absolute size of that crowd, 81,000 people. I mean,
and that's what it was like back then.
But for nowadays, that is very, very, very scarce. Like, we're not going to see that. I mean, in even in the Premier League nowadays, I mean, you're only talking 70,000 tops average of a season. I mean, that's a very, very good game. We're talking. But I mean, for SPL nowadays, I mean, in European games, even with Celtic and other teams, I mean, the crowd is hardly any. But 81,000 back in the day, that is jam-packed stadium. That is a huge attendance record, probably for that time, you know. And it's absolutely fantastic.
But in the end, we lost 1-0. Who was the Spaniard that scored that goal?
It was actually Puskas.
Yeah,
and he only scored 5 minutes from the end of time, which shows you. I mean, that was neck to neck stuff. But as we said before, guys, look, if you've got any further information for us, because we'd absolutely love to know, just let us know. But I mean, we're going to finalise this with David.
Just another thing, the away leg, was it 5-0 or 6-0?
I'm sure it was 6-0, so aggregate 7-0, not very good.
But it might have been 5-0, we're not sure, but we'll need to research that.
I mean, we've got to remember that was at the Bernabeu, so I mean...
But we're not sure if any Rangers fans actually travelled over to Spain, because in the days it was...
You couldn't really do it, could you?
Unless you get a boat.
Exactly.
That would have took you a week.
Even 9 years later, there was plenty of Rangers fans in Barcelona, including my grandfather, who was at Camp Nou, or Nou Camp, whatever you want to call it, for the Cup Winners' Cup final.
Well, actually, my dad's uncle was at the game.
Wow.
He was at this game.
What, Rangers?
This
the first
game,
leg?
Yeah,
the
he
first
was at
leg,
the
not
game,
second one. Wow. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
I just wish we'd more information on it, because I'm intrigued. We actually played Real Madrid,
and it's just fantastic to see young fans wanting to know, and young fans wanting to know the history of the club, which is But anyway, let us know matches you want us to review and cover, and you know, as we say, we're going to try and upload weekly on this podcast, so stay tuned for that. And before I end it, just please remember to follow us on Facebook, which is Rangers Talk on the Spot, and also on Twitter, it's at Jers Chat. I mean, thank you. You got anything to say, David? Or you
just again, as I said, please comment and on the Facebook page or Twitter, give us a wee message if you know anything about the game, because we're trying our hardest to cover these matches. What we're going to do is we're going to do a weekly blast from the past, and we're going to look at all the European games that Rangers played post-World War, 50s, 60s, 70s. So if you've got any games you would want us to cover, please
let us know.
A message.
Well, guys, thank you very, very much for listening, and we all really, really appreciate it, from Dean and David. And absolutely have a fantastic rest of the day, and see you next week. Bye, guys.